up to the 30, the 20, 10, 5, Torrey Horton back to the end zone.
48-yard play. Guess who? Body up the middle, making another move to the outside. 15, 10, end zone again.
Keeps it. Nice move by Brown. He's got space. He's got 6. 35-yard touchdown for Byron Brown. A record-setting night for the South Florida quarterback.
Down so far, a little bit of a high snap. Genty right up the middle. Genty has room. Ashton Genty, give him 6.
Second and long. Lagar tries to fit it in. Ruddles, it does. Ruddles stays up. The Suns offense 4-3 wins. Incredible effort for Ruddles.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive Live. We are excited to bring you the G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I am Luke. I'm joined by my co-host, Justice. We're only 6 subscribers away from 500 on YouTube. So if you're watching us on X, which I see a lot of you are, head over to YouTube, hit a sub there. We would appreciate it. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, a retweet. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. Don't forget, the G5 Hive merchandise store is now live. Link in the YouTube comments as well as pinned on our X page and here at the bottom of the screen.
The Sun Belt Championship, the Marshall Thundering Herd versus the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. This game is at Louisiana. They both had the same conference record. And so the way the tiebreakers worked, they used like the old school computer model rankings method. And Louisiana's is higher than Marshall. So Louisiana gets to host this game. What do we have for injuries, Luke?
All right, injury-wise, Marshall, linebacker Landon Watson, he did not play this last week. Cornerback Josh Motton didn't play. Defensive lineman Jabari Ishmael did not play. And then center Logan Osborne, he left the game, came back in. Left guard, offensive lineman, kind of do it all. Bryce Ramsey, he left the game. He primarily plays left guard, but he plays a little bit of center and right guard. He left the game. So there could be some O-line question marks going into this game for Marshall. Like I said, defensive lineman down, cornerback down, linebacker down. They were able to win this last week without him. But I think definitely offensive line, big issues there. Louisiana, right tackle George Jackson, running back Draylon Washington, and then cornerback Keon Martin. So I would say going into this, Louisiana is healthier.
Well, Ben Wooldridge, too. We know he's not going to play, but he hasn't played the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So they've been figuring out. But, yeah, I think this is going to – I think even though there's O-line concerns, Braylon Braxton, big enough body, can take a couple blows. He kind of reminds me, like, way more mobile than a Ben Roethlisberger, but sometimes when he's moving, like in the pocket, it just kind of makes me think of Ben Roethlisberger, this big presence there at quarterback.
All right, players to know when Louisiana has the ball. For the Raging Cajuns, they got quarterback Chandler Fields. As we mentioned, Ben Wooldridge was their starter most of the year. Broke his collarbone. He's been out the last 2 games. So Chandler Fields has been back there, and he's looked good. When they're running the ball, they got Bill Davis, Zylan Perry. They definitely share the carries between the two of them. Zylan Perry just had the big game this past week. I think he had 150 yards, but they both. It's definitely a running back by committee approach. Through the air, their top receiver is wide receiver Lance Legendre, former quarterback. And then I think he'll be a key weapon for them in this game. Tight end Terrence Carter. He's been one of the best tight ends in the G5. He's been kind of quiet these last couple weeks. But I think he's someone that they're going to rely upon heavily in this game, and he's a great tight end. The Marshall defense, no slouch. When we talk about the Marshall defense, you got to start with the man up front, the leader in the nation in sacks, Mike Green. And we'll talk about this next week, but he should definitely win the Hendricks Award for the best defensive end in college football. But Mike Green has been an absolute beast this year for the Thundering Herd. Like I said, leads college football in sacks. Linebacker Jaden Yates, he has been phenomenal for them and run support, one of the top tacklers. And safety J.J. Roberts, he can do it all. He's great in coverage, great in run support. He was Luke's defensive player of the week, I think, 2 weeks ago. Landon Watson, if Landon Watson's able to play in this game, that'll be huge for the Thundering Herd. He's had a pretty good season as well. And up front, defensive lineman Dave Harris. He's come on really strong the last couple weeks. I believe he's had 2 or 3 sacks, maybe even 4 sacks, 2 sacks apiece the last 2 games. As teams focus more on Mike Green, it frees him up. So, if you're going to double team Mike Green, then you got Dave Harris causing issues as well. This Marshall defense has played pretty good all year. I don't expect that to change. When Marshall has the ball, as Luke said, quarterback Braylon Braxton, dual threat. He's a big guy. He can move. He can burn you in the air. He can burn you with his legs. When you look at the running backs, AJ Turner, he's kind of the difference maker for them. He missed a game. He's played the last 2 weeks, but he has not looked 100%. He's pretty when he is 100%, he's pretty electric with the ball. He averages almost 10 yards per carry when he is right, when he's healthy. He has not been healthy the past 2 weeks in terms he hasn't looked 100%. So it'd be interesting to see, what version of AJ Turner we get in this championship game. When Braylon Braxton's throwing the ball, I'd say his 2 favorite targets are Christian Fitzpatrick. Christian Fitzpatrick, I think, is like 6'3", maybe 6'4". He's a transfer from Michigan State. Phenomenal. Yeah, he's a big guy. He's got some speed to him too, though. I got to see him against Old Dominion 2 weeks ago, and Old Dominion had no answer for Christian Fitzpatrick. And then Chuck Montgomery. Chuck Montgomery is another weapon for them at receiver. Yeah. And so those are kind of the 2 favorite targets for Braylon Braxton. When Marshall has the ball and you're looking at the Louisiana defense, you're looking for along that defensive line, who's going to try to get and contain Braylon Braxton. You're looking at Cam Whitfield. Cam Whitfield's had a phenomenal year. Their leader in sacks, and then also Jordan Lawson. Those are kind of the 2 names to know along that defensive front for the Raging Cajuns. Linebacker Casey Osai, he's their leading tackler, and then they have 2 phenomenal safeties, and I'm talking like top 5 safeties in the G5. Both of them, I believe, will end the season as in our top 5 for safeties in our 2020 guys, and that's Tyree Skipper and Tyrone Lewis Jr. I believe Tyree Skipper might be the number 1 safety look at the regular season stats. Both of them are phenomenal in coverage. So it'll be interesting to see if they can, how they do against Christian Fitzpatrick and Chuck Montgomery. Again, another great game. I don't know. Do you know what they have for the line in this game, Luke?
I do not have that up.
My guess is Louisiana's probably a slight favorite. It's Louisiana by 5.5. Louisiana by 5.5, over under a 56.5. That line seems a little high to me. I would have thought it'd be closer to like 3.5. Marshall sometimes can start slow, or finish slow. They've had some lapses in games. Certainly, we saw against JMU They started slow, didn't get things going till the second half, and then earlier in the year we saw them blow. Let Georgia Southern score 21 points like in the last 8 minutes of the game to win. So Marshall, I think for Marshall to win, they got to play a complete game. They can't have these lapses where they don't show up for the first half or they don't show up in the fourth quarter. Because Louisiana's a good team. They beat Wake Forest this year. Again, I know they've lost Ben Wooldridge, but Chandler Fields is a more than capable backup. And Louisiana, like, I don't know that you can key on one guy. I just feel like, they can beat you a lot of different ways. It's going to be a good game. I would definitely tune in. If nothing else, just to see Mike Green, man. The guy is phenomenal. He's being talked about.
I think that's going to be the way to beat. Well, he's going to get double teamed. I expect people chipping him. But if that's maybe a quick hitter, is getting Terrence Carter the ball there in space, that could be that great equalizer in this game that the Raging Cajuns use here against Marshall.
Yeah, don't disagree. Mike Green's being talked about as a top 50 draft pick in the upcoming NFL draft. Phenomenal talent. Should be a good one. If I had to pick, man, I mean, if I'm picking straight up, I think Louisiana wins. I don't know that they win by 5.5, though.
I like the Raging Cajuns. It's like the Herd has just kind of had a magical season. We really didn't know what to expect coming into the year. New offensive coordinator. All these rumors that Huff is leaving. I mean, he probably is. Probably where there's smoke, there's fire.
Well, hey, and either there's not, it's got. I tell you what, as someone else I saw on Twitter say, this is the best troll job they've ever seen. Southern with the Southern Miss folks saying that Huff's coming to Southern Miss. Incredible troll job if it isn't true.
But yeah, this is a great season by Marshall. Brendan Braxton, great season coming over from Tulsa, I believe. But I mean, he didn't have the job at the beginning. Won the job, I don't know, after a couple weeks. And this Marshall team's been fun. They will be a fun team to watch going forward. But I think I've got Louisiana. And again, another team I did not expect to have as good of a season as they're having.
No.
Phenomenal.
I mean, I think we had them top 3 in the Sun Belt, but we didn't. We weren't as high on them as others. Others were certainly higher on. I think we had South Alabama and Texas State ahead of them, but Louisiana just had a great year.
All right, that does it. Those are our conference previews. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Come back and join us next week as we discuss what happened in all of the G5 Conference Championship games. And always bring you up to date on the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. If you're watching us on X, please give us a retweet, a like, and a follow. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please subscribe, leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. Again, we're only like 6 away on YouTube for subscribers to being at 500. Go out there and sub to that. We would appreciate it. And thank you all for your support. Until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.